Welcome to Go, Get, Great, the podcast for aspiring entrepreneurs and ambitious small business owners. I'm your host, Brittany, owner of Brittany Miller Socials and mother of 3. Go, Get, Great is all about helping you make life and business work together. You'll learn about the fumbles that helped get me and my guests to where we are today so you don't have to make them. So come join the journey with Go, Get, Great. Good morning, everyone. I hope that you are having a fantastic Tuesday if you're listening to this episode when it goes live. Today, I want to take a few minutes to talk about the power of collaboration and the different ways that you can do that for your business. I am a huge advocate of collaboration in business, partially because entrepreneurship can be a very lonely endeavor, but also because there is so much power in collaborating with others. It's a fantastic marketing tool. It brings me especially so much joy when I'm able to work with other people. So I really wanted to take a few minutes to kind of talk about the different ways that you can do that, because I often feel that we're kind of in a society that values competition more than collaboration, which I don't think is how it should be. You'll maybe even notice that I've had other social media managers on my podcast as guests, which most people would be like, why would you draw attention to someone else's business that could take clients away from you? And it's because in general, I think Amanda's a fantastic human. And if you want to work with her, then by all means, please do. But because I feel like there's more value that can be added for you as a listener and for your audience when you work with people that are in the same space as you. So I want to talk about a few ways that you can do that, and a few ways that I would love to collaborate with you if you're listening to this and you feel that any of this calls to you. So the first thing that I want you to take a few minutes and do is really just kind of sit down and take a couple deep breaths and get into a positive headspace where you are open to collaboration opportunities. Like I said, we need to shed that competitive mindset and step into a world where collaboration is king. So there's actually a specific business model that focuses on this, and it's called co-opetition. So this was a topic that was kind of introduced to me in my business studies, and I didn't really think much of it at the time because I was like, this is a very bizarre business strategy. Why would you want to work with your competitors? But you can see how my mindset has shifted now to a point where I'm like, yes, I would love to work with my competitors. How can we do that? How can we together empower the people that we want to help? So this kind of business model was actually invented by like brewing companies, like small, I want to say local, but I don't think they were actually local to St. Thomas, but independent brewers that wanted to kind of build a community of people that wanted to support local brewers instead of kind of going to like the big, like beer specifically, big beer industries. They figured that instead of trying to compete over a small pie of people that were interested in local artisan brew flavors, that they would try and work together to create a bigger audience of people that liked local brewers, which would then grow their business because they're not competing with each other. So it was actually a fantastic business model. You probably know that St. Thomas is actually home to several very popular small breweries. And a lot of that came from the focus on a co-opetition business model where we're like, let's share who we are and what we love with more people and bring more people to us instead of fighting over the same people that already love us. So I feel like that business model should honestly be applied to every single business in existence, but I can't do that, but I can focus on doing it for my business. So here are a few ways that I like to do this, and I would encourage you to participate with me and collaborate with me and potentially put in place for your own business yourself. So obviously, one of the biggest ones and probably the most straightforward is to be a guest on my podcast. I would love that. If you have like a specific focus on motherhood or you're a leader in your area in business, then we can talk about that. We can talk about how we make the two work together. You're obviously listening to my podcast. You're very familiar with what I talk about. So I would love to have you on as a guest if you think that that would be of interest to you. I also have mentioned before that I would love to be a guest on other people's podcasts and share my motherhood journey, my very unconventional relationship journey with Grayson, or just, life as a social media manager, as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur. Happy to speak to any of that. If you're like, okay, but that doesn't work for me, well, I am far from the only person on the planet that has a podcast. And some of the best ways to connect with other podcast owners is, go on Spotify, go on Apple Podcasts, and do a search for your area of expertise or kind of the type of podcast that you enjoy listening to. Maybe you already have a handful on your Spotify playlist that you can reach out to and be like, hey, I've listened to your podcast for so long. I absolutely love what you do. This is who I am. This is what I do. Do you think it'd be a fit for me to be on your podcast? So if you're interested, I've actually recently put together like a podcast pitch letter that I'll be using to connect with more people to be a guest on their podcast. I'm happy to share a copy of it with you. It's actually a template I got from Amanda at the Monarch & Co. So I'm happy to kind of pass that along if you feel that that would be beneficial for you. So basically just reach out to people that you have in your podcast community or go on Facebook. Honestly, I've done this a few times and search, female podcast host or Canadian podcasts. And there are so many different free Facebook groups that you can join. And you basically just go in, introduce who you are, what your area of expertise is, and say, I'd like to be on a podcast. And there are often lots of opportunities there. If you are a podcast host yourself, it's also a fantastic way to get guests onto your podcast. I have quite a lengthy list, actually, of people that would like to be a guest. And I'm like, I want to bring you all on immediately because you're amazing. How do I do that? So that is one great option. A very similar option, if you're not a podcaster, but you're a vlogger or a blogger, you can do the same thing. You just change it to say, I'd really love to be a guest writer on your blog. Would I be able to talk about this, or this different topic area? Or same with video. That being said, I would love to have some guest writers on my blog. You'll know that I did a collaborative blog post with Courtney from Nyama Love. So I would love to do more of that because, like I said before, I just generally love working with other people and being able to share resources. So that's another great option. Kind of along the same lines as this, you can also do like email features, or you can do email list swaps. So you could connect with another like business and be like, hey, let's trade email writings. I'll write an email for you talking about who I am, add some value for your audience, and you can do the same on mine as a way to promote your email list, who you are. You could promote a podcast or a product or a service. You just obviously have to agree with the other person in advance about what it is that you would like to cover in the email. Or maybe you just say, you know what, I'm just going to feature you. Here's what I'd like to write. Does this work? If you'd like to kind of be a little bit more in control over the content of the actual email before it gets sent out to your list. So list sharing is what I like to call that, is also a fantastic way to grow your business and introduce yourself to more audiences like all of these. And it's also, it's actually a really good sales driver because the people on your email list already trust you. They know you. They're like your almost immediate family in a business sense. So when you invite someone else and you promote them in your email community, they like immediately have a trust factor because you've in essence vetted them for your list because you know who they are, what they do, and you truly believe they add value. So just be very cognizant when you do this that you're really showcasing the right people and that you're putting yourself in a position where you're showcasing yourself on other people's lists to people that will actually find value in your services and that align. So you need to make sure that there's a really strong alignment, which comes from knowing who you are, who you serve, what you do. So as long as you've done that core work, then you should be okay. But I do like to caution that because that is very intimate. It's basically like a word of mouth referral, and you wouldn't refer people that you don't feel would be a strong fit to work together. So I do love that opportunity. And if any of you guys are interested, I would love to start doing more of that on my list specifically. I already try and share events and resources and like workshops that are coming up from other people. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, you know what, Brittany's audience is very similar to mine. I have this course or webinar that I have coming up. please send me an email with some information, and I would absolutely love to include that in my monthly emails. Networking, kind of transitioning topics here, very similar. Great way to kind of connect and collaborate. A lot of the people that I work with, but also that I connect with to brainstorm and things like that, are people that I've met at networking events. There isn't necessarily always a connection of, I'm going to be a client of yours, you're going to be a client of mine. But I find a lot of my collaboration opportunities do come from networking. So going to those events with more of an open mind than just, I need customers for my business, can be very beneficial for collaboration. I also want to note here really quickly that, the standard like a post, save a post, share a post, comment on somebody else's post is still a fantastic way to support another business. That is still collaboration. That is just very common collaboration. So I want to give you some more ideas above and beyond that, but I don't want to negate the fact that that is still a fantastic way to support someone else's business and to work together, especially comments. They help start conversations. So don't forget, sometimes easy and simple is the best way to go. So joint webinars is another fantastic way that you can work together with someone. It's a great way to share audiences and also to build and add value for your audience. So I've actually considered this and tried to put this together on a few different occasions with different people, but the timing didn't work out for me to have guests come in and support you as business owners in a different capacity. So I'm going to share this because I hope that we can still make this happen at some point in time. But I had talked to Emma Kate from Cyclical Wellness. You may remember her. She was on in one of my very early episodes talking about hormone balancing and hormone health for entrepreneurs. And we were hoping to put a webinar together where we'd be able to share some tips. So we kind of did that in our podcast episode, but that was an idea that we had originally considered as a joint webinar. So I would be able to connect her with entrepreneurs who may be interested in her services, and the entrepreneurs already in my community can learn about things like cycle syncing and when to plan webinars so that you're in your most ideal and aligned like mindset to be facilitating that. So I found that super exciting information and was really excited to kind of try and bring that together. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know and I will connect with Emma again and see if we can get something set up if you'd like to do that, or if you want me to have her back on my podcast. I think that would be fun as well. What else do I have on here? So the next few things that I'm going to talk about are great ways to collaborate. Most of these are all like low cost, free options. And some of these are very, very simple and easy to do. The one that does have monetary connection, I'm going to do next. So you could look at hosting a joint giveaway. So I do want to mention that you need to tread lightly with this. Giveaways can be beneficial in certain aligned when you work together, and that the prize makes sense for yourself financially, but also for the audience that you're targeting. So you could look to collaborate with a local business and do a giveaway, and then have both of you promote it and kind of help support and grow your following. So again, the alignment is key because when you get new followers, you want to hopefully transition them into email list subscribers and eventually clients for your business. So for me, as a social media manager, I would probably want to work with like a small business center or community or something along those lines. If you're, let's say, you design kids clothes, then maybe you would partner with a company that sells kids toys or like baby gifts or something like that. So it'd be people that would still be interested in purchasing your product or service. There's also a lot you can do to collaborate on social media, especially now that there's the invite collaborator feature on your Instagram content. So doing joint reels is so fun and so exciting, and something that I would like to do more of. At the moment, I kind of just tag my other business accounts when I need to share the same piece of content on multiple pages. But you can do that with other people. You can do fun reels transitions and kind of like trade back and forth if you're talking about different products or services. I've seen some really fantastic ways to do that. If you're curious, let me know and I'll send you the examples that I'm talking about. But that's a really great and fun way to create content that still adds value and helps you, again, grow your audience, because that is the underlying goal with all of these different collaboration options. So shared posts, shared reels with fun transitions are great. You could also look at doing like a joint Instagram live and kind of talk about, I see a lot of people do this. It's kind of like the easier version of podcasting. Basically, it's an Instagram podcast and you have guests on, you talk about different topics, and then it lives on your grid permanently after. So that's a fantastic way to collaborate with other people. You can make it like a consistent series, like a podcast, or you can just do like random one-offs where you're getting together to kind of do something. It's similar to like webinars as well. Or you can do like a story swap. So you could have an expert come in. I've seen this a few times with different influencers. And they'll have, a friend that's a sleep consultant come on and they'll take over their stories for a day and people can ask them questions and they'll pop up and they'll do like little mini info sessions and then they answer people's questions. You also don't have to give someone access to your social media profile if you don't want to. And you can just be like, hey, I'm going to feature this business today. I'm going to come on, do a couple stories talking about the business and why I like them. I'm going to share a few of my favorite posts from them. You should go check them out, give them a follow, learn something from them, etc. So you can do it that way. To make it an actual true collaboration, tell that person in advance and ask if they'd be willing to do the same for your business. You don't have to, obviously, but that is the best way to do it. But oftentimes when you do spontaneous things like that, people will, still thank you and potentially share something for yourself. But communicating it in advance usually ensures that you kind of have the same back and forth. So those are, I think that about wraps it up. So there are a few different ways that you can work together and collaborate, promote your business, add value to your audience, and hopefully generate some additional followers, email subscribers, or clients or sales for your business. So again, just to summarize, you can look at having guests on your podcast or being a guest on someone else's podcast. Similarly for blogs and vlogs. Go into networking events with open minds, looking to kind of create opportunities to do this. You can do email list features or email swaps. You can do giveaways. You can create joint social media content in terms of lives or reels, those story swaps that I mentioned. Liking, commenting, saving, sharing other people's content is a fantastic way to do that. And then just really quickly, one last thing that you can actually do to collaborate with other people is do a service exchange. So I've done this a few times. I find it very beneficial for me and for the people that I work with. So if this is something you're interested in, I'm happy to do that as well. When you start out with your business, there are 1,001 different things that you can invest in. I kid you not, the list is endless. And as an entrepreneur, we have to be very conscious about where we're investing our money so that we're growing our business strategically. Oftentimes, the funds are not there to invest the way that we would like to. So a great way to kind of get past that is to offer service exchanges. So I've done this with Zone Tech specifically. They are a local computer repair business. So they actually took my laptop in and kind of did its annual maintenance on it. And in exchange, I helped them with some email marketing. I've done it with copywriting as well. So I've helped set up, again, email. People like having me help with email, and I don't mind that. Help set up email in exchange for having someone support some copywriting for my business. So it's a great way for you to get the services that you're interested in without having to invest either a lot or any capital from your business and have the other person do the same. So I feel like this is kind of a very underrated thing. Everyone's always focused on, I need money for my business. And yes, that's great. But if you can help someone else and also help yourself in return, and it just costs you time. Yes, time is money, but oftentimes that's a great way to kind of help grow your business without having to have large financial investments behind it. So don't discount the service exchange and just kind of be open to those opportunities. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I would absolutely love some of Brittany's help for social media or email marketing, send me a message and let me know. Can't guarantee that it's going to be a service that I'm going to be interested in, as is anyone else. We can't guarantee anything, but I'm definitely open to the opportunity of connecting with you and seeing if there is a fit, because there is a very long list of things that I would like to invest in for my business. So chances are high we can probably work something out. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Again, I hope that this is valuable for you. I really love sharing my strategies for my business and how I'm putting them into actual practice and making them work for me to grow my business. And I hope that you're able to do the same. If you action any of these, I would absolutely love for you to let me know what you tried, what worked, what didn't, and maybe we can help you see some success as well. So thank you so much. Until next time, have a lovely day. Thank you so much for tuning in to Go Get Great. I hope you found some useful tips and tricks that can help you make life and business work together. If what I said resonates with you, please share it on social media and don't forget to tag at Brittany Miller Socials so that I can celebrate you for taking those first steps towards achieving greatness. Remember, success doesn't happen overnight. It takes dedication, hard work, and a lot of spirit. So don't be afraid to dream big and go after what you want. Keep striving for greatness. You get closer with every step forward, no matter how small they may seem. Until next time, go get great.